I have now completed 50 episodes of One Piece. I understand that some people get excitement from the One Piece first time experience thing. So I'm just gonna sit here and we're just gonna vibe and I'm just gonna talk about my first interpretation of One Piece 50 episodes in. How do I feel about the fans? Were they right all along? How do I feel about obviously your glorious King Luffy, Zoro, and every other character in between? Let's start it off, man, with the One Piece opening one. So starting off with the first thing I see when I'm looking at One Piece, and I'm not gonna lie, the opening kind of cool. Now, 50 episodes in, we get to that second opening. By the way, my chat has developed a troll, so I've been watching majority of the series in dub. Every now and then there's a poll that has us watch certain episodes in sub. But yeah, I'm listening to Gohan, Luffy, Trunks, Sanji, all of that shit. Yeah, I know. Boo them. Don't boo me. Tune into the streams if you want to be able to change that, but it is what it is. But I don't think the dub is bad. It just sounds familiar to a lot of people. I don't think the dub is bad. I'm not one of those, English, I'm not one of those guys. Speaking of English, whether it's in English or Japanese, though, opening one of One Piece is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting a show like Bleach or JoJo's to be known for its openings. Hell, I know there's gonna be a scorcher of a take. Even the latter half of Boruto gets cooking. We obviously know that Naruto has openings on lockdown. Even Dragon Ball to a degree. I never heard about One Piece's music. It has some fantastic OSTs, and it has a really good opening one. Now, opening two. I'm not a fan of opening two, bro. I'm a fan of We Are 1000%. And opening two of One Piece, you can't convince me. But that's just the music. I overall do adore the music. Now, talking about how the series starts off. So this bastard has a cape on in this picture. I don't know where. I guess he turns into Batman Luffy inevitably. I don't fucking know. That's another thing I will talk about the fans. Hey, man, look, y'all get excited, but God, y'all be fucking spoiling, bro. I'm sorry. 90% of the people that get banned in my chat just spoil One Piece. And it's just like you're cooked. It's just like, but that's besides the point. The fandom is also very much, y'all really like One Piece. Like, y'all can just sit here and watch the whole 1,000 in one sitting. I can't do 1,000 eps of anything. But One Piece, it definitely deserves some of the hype it gets. But starting off with Luffy, I think that Luffy's easily the dumbest character I've ever seen. Sometimes I'll admit a little painfully stupid, but sometimes it leads to some very hilarious, very good moments. And it makes the payoff of when Luffy has those smarter moments seem great. And they're never out of character because despite the fact that Luffy isn't intellectually a guy, Luffy's a very charismatic kind of guy. Luffy's a people person. The cat out the bag. We're actually like 60 episodes in. I just never reflected on One Piece. Currently at the point in the series where him and Zoro start going to war. So you can use this as somewhat like Sage, at this point, him and Zoro, that was a misunderstanding. Isn't he supposed to understand? Fine, he's stupid. I'm not trying to act like Luffy's smart, but a lot of the time when Luffy has those smart moments, it's because he knows the hidden motives, hidden agendas, even in some of the fillers of other people. I feel like Luffy, while oblivious in 90% of situations, he will understand the type of person he's around, if that makes sense. The powers of the Gum Gum Fruit are very interesting. Obviously, he's hinted at some of the workarounds in terms of that weakness that he has, which, yeah, you can't swim for shit, buddy. I seen him make himself a balloon when they were going up that bridge in that one episode where they had my favorite character, my boy, Jesse, James. That's my glorious king. But yeah, during that episode, he made himself a balloon. I've seen him stretch out long enough to like make himself like a slingshot-ish type shit. So he has workarounds like I expected. But hey, that day that boy was dying in Arlon Park, man, I'm like, here we go. You being a pirate, you around water a lot. You're going to need a hard counter for this, Luffy. Hopefully he can figure that out. I do like what everything Luffy stands for as well. I was going to talk about this when I talk about Zoro even more, but Luffy doesn't have the blind loyalty thing. But Luffy, that boy know his crew. With his crew, and unless his crew does some slimy ass shit in his opinion, he with the crew till the day he die. And even if his crew doing some slimy shit, his moral compass can be a little swayed depending on what it was. Like Nami just casually killed Jesse. Bro didn't give a we going to that grand line. So, hey, I'm not gonna lie. I could see how he could potentially grow to be one of your glorious kings. For me personally, I'm only 50 episodes in. Like, I'm not gonna jump the gun and then be disappointed. Now, one person who is winning me over rather quickly is Luffy's sidekick, crewmate, Piccolo, Zoro, ladies and gentlemen. Zoro's my dog. I ain't nothing else to say. Zoro's my dog, man. Look, I have the Scorcher take to some and the factual take to some, so I don't know. I know that the three is like arguably debatable between who has the best backstory between Sanji, Zoro, and Nami. I'm Team Zoro for that argument, man. It's not that it's as complex as Nami's or even as tragic as Sanji's. I think Zoro's backstory just perfectly like lined up why Zoro is who he is. Like, Nami and Sanji's do a fantastic job establishing their motivations. Zoro's does, in my opinion, the best at establishing why he is who he is. Not why he does what he does, but why he is who he is. And I adore that a lot, man. More than just the backstory shit. I f with Zoro's character. I f with his blind loyalty to Luffy once Luffy won him over. He said, okay, well, you're my captain now. It is what it is, man. And even though he identifies Luffy as a idiot, Captain wants to do this? Shit, all right. Three-star style, I guess. It is what it is. Moving on to Usopp, Squidward. I like his backstory. I think it just falls a little bit flatter than the others. To be honest, I think Luffy at 5 is pretty safe unless you were to say that Usopp's is worse. But you kind of just have to buy into the fact that Usopp's weak. I think that introduces a little bit of bias there. I think I even initially said that Usopp had the 5th. He probably is a little bit better backstory than Luffy. From what I know thus far, I'd probably say Usopp and Luffy are debatable for who has the weakest backstory to me. But it's not like either of them are bad, or really anybody's is bad. Usopp, my only concern about him is that because he's a comedy character who's also weak, is he going to halt the story a lot? When I talk about arcs, I'm going to talk about arcs. But like in Arlong Park, for example, I liked the fight that he had with the actual handsome Squidward looking dude. But if it's not going to be moments like that all the time, and even then during that fight, sometimes it was just in the way of a better fight or in the way of a better sequence. If he's always going to be the guy that's like, halt, giggle time, that's going to make me a little annoyed, but we'll see. Right now, the jury's still out, but I've noticed a lot with Usopp, while situations are tense, heavy, that he kind of is just the guy in the way of the story. And I don't want that to be the case. I hope either they make him more relevant to where that's not the case, or they just time his dialogue and moments better. Like, for example, I think Usopp would be best utilized from what I've seen if he was a guy that made the game-saving play, or a guy that was the first domino to a major fight or some shit like that. That's perfectly fine with me. Luffy's stupidity has been a major domino and or a game-saving play. So it's only sensible that the comedy guy could have the similar role. That's mainly my proof of point, my supporting details, I guess, for why I think Usopp could be used that way. So I don't want Usopp gone. I don't want Usopp killed. I don't want him to no longer be a part of the crew. But I do hope that he doesn't just halt the story. Speaking of halt the story, I'm not gonna lie. Nami, you stole the show at one point. Kim, you were iffy on me for a while. You redeemed yourself in one arc. They did a fantastic job. In fact, One Piece does a fantastic job of making you care about the side characters with dedicated episodes or even dedicated arcs for them. We know that Usopp is essentially Handy Mandy on crack. Because we know that Nami is a navigator, okay, they're needed, but I still won't care. Nah, what they make you care about is how they came to be, what their motivations are, why they act cowardly, all that extra shit. When you build that bond, that's really good. Back to Nami, her backstory, if you had to argue someone's better than Zoro's, it'd be Nami's all day. I think Arlong Park was just a fantastic arc. I don't want to talk too much about it because getting into Nami as a character, pretty much, you kind of have to talk about Arlong Park because prior to that, she kind of just there for Zybes. Nami's a fantastic character. That arc did wonders for her. I'm not gonna lie, but we'll talk about Arlong Park when we get there. Last but not least, Sanji Trunks. Sanji cool. He the cool guy. Smokes, which in anime is the coolest shit ever, but in real life is he has good motivations as well, going to see the all blue. It's for I troll him a lot during my streams. If you tune in on TSO_Sage on Twitch, call him Trunks, call him a fisherman, anything like that. Obviously a simp, but yeah, no, I don't even have too much to say about Sanji either. He's kind of just like, this crew fits in together as a crew. There's only so much I can analyze about these characters like Sanji, Nami, without talking about the specific arcs they're in too much, because that was pretty much not all they've done, but like the main thing for them. Because Sanji, since his introduction, he's just shown to be like another powerful guy along with Luffy and Zoro. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the plot points, man. First arc of One Piece, essentially when he fights the fat jump, Ned, I forgot his real name. I called him Ned that many times. But the dude, the pink-haired dude that was on the Marines, Ned, that's my boy. Essentially, Luffy's introduction was pretty unique and cool. Zoro's introduction, again, unique and cool. Ned had a L motivation, the Marine. It was cool. I'm not gonna lie. That arc didn't really have too much substance from what I'm seeing outside of that. It was just introducing who Zoro was, introducing how the Marines will often be an antagonist to these characters, and then introducing how Zoro essentially joined Luffy's crew. So the next arc was the Orange Town arc. The arc where they meet Nami and then they fight Buggy the Clown. So the Orange Town arc, for me personally, it was okay. Nothing too fantastic. Again, got more fight scenes with Luffy, which is always nice. The reason why I know I might have triggered some of you guys, I have to be honest though, it's my reaction. It's not everybody's reaction. And again, I'm reminding you, I'm the first 50 episodes in because I know my chat just heavily disagrees. I don't get the Buggy hype right now. As of this moment, do yourself a favor before you down below. Obviously, the guy turns out, micro spoiler, the guy turns out to be him or some shit. I don't know what the spoiler is. I just know everybody thinks he's him. And I'd be damned you think he him from the first 50 episodes. Because the first 50 episodes, he don't really do nothing. All he says is chop, chop, and make like a couple of funny jokes, I guess. I don't understand the hype thus far. He has a really cool power. I like when they tap into the serious side of the character. I actually do. When Buggy gets serious, that's been the moments that I've been more interested in the character. When he is engulfed in the revenge of, hey, Luffy will die by my hands. That shit was cool, bro. But it just, he fails a lot. And then it's not that he has to actually kill Luffy for me to like him. I don't know. I don't understand how he's him right now. And then even the filler episode, side tangent. One Piece fillers do not hit, for me at least. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen the short treasure chest dude twice. Filler arc with the dragon thing that it was so bad. One Piece fans were tuning out of the stream. Maybe they have later fillers that cook, but to my knowledge, none of the fillers have been hitting except for Jesse. That is my glorious king. That's easily my favorite character throughout the entirety of One Piece. Next up is the Serp Village. This is where they meet Usopp. The butler, the dude that was like this or whatever. I actually, this is what I'm saying right now. At this moment in time, I liked him more than Buggy. I think that he was like the first antagonist that I actually gave a fuck about. The dude that does this, he's the first guy that was like, oh shit, well shit getting real. Well shit about to go down. Especially given the odds that they were against with Zoro being separated for a long time. Luffy essentially gonna have to 1v50. Usopp obviously not being a fighter in terms of raw power and devil fruit. Same thing with Nami. And this was the first arc I felt that stakes were on the line. Overall, a solid arc. Definitely not anything that I would like brag rap about if I were a One Piece fan. Is, oh yeah, this is my One Piece. I wouldn't push that at all. In fact, to be honest, it's an introduction to the series. It's not hate. First 18 episodes, I don't really see like this all-time antagonist, and that's what I felt these guys desperately needed. But regardless, it was cool. Now, they would get a hell of an antagonist. I wouldn't say One Peak yet either, but they got a significantly better antagonist in Don Krieg. Don Krieg, he was pretty good. Now, I think Don Krieg at some point falls flat because he's kind of literally just a minor inconvenience character. So it's hard to buy into him as a character as well. But this is something that really the crew hasn't had except for this guy, literally. So it was nice to see them yet again in a battle situation. Obviously, Sanji's introduction to the series, and we got his backstory. We got Unk backstory. I actually like Unk as well. Ultimately, Luffy versus Don Krieg, I think at this point, I don't know if I liked it better than the Butler guy, but I know that Don Krieg is significantly more notorious than Butler guy. Case in point, I don't know what the Butler guy's name is. Don Krieg himself had more moxie. He was more bend your rules, do what it takes to get the W. And the Neji Cat Butler, though, I don't know. I think I like that fight. Not the characters involved. I think I like that fight maybe a bit more than Don Krieg's fight. Oh, wait, I'm blanking. Do like this arc more. Regardless if I like Don Krieg versus Luffy more. That motherfucker Mihawk. Look, man, look, we only see him like once or twice. Hi. That guy is on straight business. I love him. I love that motherfucker, man. That dude is on it. Him even randomly appearing was like, oh shit, okay, who's this guy? And he immediately cuts the ship in half, has Don Krieg shit himself, even though he didn't try to kill him. And it was like, you can't kill that. It was fun seeing that. And it also was fun seeing the pressure that Mihawk put on Luffy and Zoro to really die for what they believe in. He showed mercy to Zoro and he was like, yo, I actually see potential in you, my friend. All right, we gonna see who's the #1 swordsman for sure. And then, yo, Luffy, you as captain? Actually, we'll see if you're the #1 king of the pirates. I actually fuck with that, considering this is a clearly established legendary character. I think they handled Mihawk's introduction damn good. That's probably my first one peak moment in the next arc, which is definitely my favorite arc thus far. Arlong Park, ladies and gentlemen. This is what this cast desperately needed. So they finally shown that they can go against strong opponents. Cool. But I hate to tell you, considering I'm not a fan of Buggy, considering that Don Krieg was cool, and I don't even know who Neji, Cat Claw Furry Neji guy's name is, Arlong is the guy. First of all, he introduced Three Stooges thing. Wait, if there's Three Stooges, who are the three that are going to fight the Stooges? Zoro, Sanji, oh shit, Usopp's going to be put in a life or death situation. Desperately needed. Second thing, in hindsight, we're 30 episodes in. Why the do I care about Kim Possible now? Oh, now we're going to find out. Desperately needed. And we also find out how much Luffy cares about his crew. I think this arc was exactly what this crew needed. And this arc got me like, okay, now let's really get into it. Because I'd say 30 episodes in, not gonna lie, I was watching this for y'all. This was the first time I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. I think episode 37, I reacted to that on the channel. That's a one peak. And even just Arlong, the antagonist himself. The difference between Arlong and like a Don Krieg or Buggy to me or Neji is that one, he's more memorable. Two, he has his motivations and his reasonings that, yes, you could come off as just, oh, Sage, isn't that just being evil for the sake of evil? Well, I mean, kind of, but kind of not. He's a fish person. He wants to prove that fish people are superior. Has been doing it thus far, but he's actually just going to chill out on this land, get all the fucking money. And the reason he bitches Nami around is because, hey, Nami is a valuable asset to keep him making money. So he actually has motivations outside of, I want to rule the world. So why he's keeping Nami along. He has some dimensions about him, the rage boost. I'd say, in terms of falling in love with the character, falling in love with Nami's character definitely was a make it or break it point, and they executed that. This was a turning point for One Piece for me to where it really started going. And then last but not least, but I think this is referred to as Log Town arc. Everything else, I mean, they currently touched down at Whiskey Peak or whatever. So I'm currently at where they're at Whiskey Peak. Log Town arc after the Arlong Park arc is essentially where Gold D. Roger died. Apparently he's this legendary pirate. I mean, he looked strong. Smiled on the way when he died and shit. We'll probably get a ton more lore. Luffy obviously had attachment to wanting to just fulfill those shoes real quick. We all knew the second that Luffy touched down there that, hey, he gonna go on top of that stage and declare to be the king of the pirates. Did just that. Even when about to die, some hidden Akatsuki pulls up, and I forgot his name, with the literal strength of like 1,000 lightning bolts and saves their ass. They get away. Smoker seems like an interesting character, which is what the Marines needed as well, because up until this point, the Marines are just essentially like sometimes corrupted, sometimes, hey, they are pirates. They're not the good guys here. The Marines needed characters that are like, oh shit, don't with that guy. And Smoker is definitely one of them ones. But that leads us to Whiskey, where I saw Zoro look at 50 pirates in the face and not give a but I knew when they landed and everybody was like, "Oh, welcome pirates." I was like, "Oh, this is a trap of hell. You're like in the Grand Line. What are we doing?" This is looking like it's gonna be a very interesting character dynamic, interesting arc as well. I fuck with One Piece overall. I have my concerns about where the series is gonna go, and then I have some optimistic things about where the series is gonna go. I'm along for the ride. If you guys want to be along for the ride as well, without spoiling, definitely follow along on Twitch. Take care, stay blessed. Is the One Piece real though? I don't know.